Have you ever stood before an old creaking door? The paint is peeling, the wood warped by time and secrets. A cold draft seeps from the cracks. Part of you wants to open it, but another part screams to run. Some doors lead to places we were never meant to go, where the line between our world and the next is thin. Tonight, we open 3 of these doors into history's most chilling, unsolved nightmares. But remember, some doors are best left locked. Forever. In 1947 Los Angeles, Hollywood dreams turned to nightmares. Elizabeth Short, the Black Dahlia, drifted through the city, chasing stardom. Her body was found in a vacant lot, so gruesome, it shocked the city. The killer vanished, leaving a haunting mystery that still echoes in Hollywood's shadows. The crime scene was a work of pure, calculated evil. Elizabeth's body had been severed at the waist with surgical precision. There was not a single drop of blood at the scene, meaning she was killed elsewhere. Her body was drained of blood, cleaned, and then carefully placed in the vacant lot. Her killer had posed her, a grotesque display, a trophy. The killer had carved a terrifying smile into her face, known as a Glasgow smile. The investigation became a media circus, sensationalizing Elizabeth's life. The killer taunted the police, sending a package with her belongings, wiped clean of fingerprints. He was playing a game, and he was winning. Over the years, the list of potential suspects grew, including doctors, mobsters, and even famous Hollywood figures. One compelling suspect was George Hodel, a prominent Los Angeles physician. His own son, a retired LAPD detective, became convinced his father was the killer, but Hodel was never charged. The evidence remained circumstantial. The Black Dahlia case was never solved. It remains one of America's most infamous cold cases. The brutality of the crime feels almost inhuman. The surgical precision, the lack of evidence, the taunting of the police. It's as if the killer was more than just a man, a phantom, a dark entity that emerged from the shadows of Hollywood. Now we travel far from Hollywood to the cold heart of Russia. In 1959, 9 experienced hikers set out on a challenging expedition in the Ural Mountains. Led by Igor Dyatlov, they were young, strong, and prepared for harsh conditions, but they never returned. On February 26th, their abandoned tent was found, sliced open from the inside. It was as if something had terrified them so much, they fled in panic. Footprints led away from the tent, showing they were barefoot or wearing only socks in minus 30 degrees Celsius. Why would they run from their only shelter into a deadly blizzard without proper clothing? The searchers found the bodies of 2 hikers under a large pine tree, dressed only in underwear. The branches above were broken, suggesting one had tried to climb it. To see something, or to escape from something, the scene made no sense. The mystery deepened. The hiker's disappearance was more than just a tragic accident. Something was terribly wrong on Dead Mountain. The door in the snow leads to a place of absolute terror and confusion. The search continued, revealing more grim discoveries. 3 more bodies were found between the pine tree and the tent. They had died of hypothermia, but one had a fractured skull. For 2 months, there was no sign of the remaining 4 hikers. The mystery deepened. In May, the snow melted, revealing the final chapter of the story. The last 4 hikers were found in a ravine, with shocking injuries. Nicolas Thibault Brignoles had a crushed skull. Lyudmila Dubinina and Semyon Zolotaryov had multiple broken ribs. A doctor said the force required was equivalent to being hit by a car, yet there were no external wounds. It was as if they had been crushed by an immense, invisible pressure. And strangest of all, Lyudmila Dubinina was missing her tongue. The official investigation was closed quickly, stating they died from a compelling natural force. This explanation satisfied no one. Theories ranged from an avalanche to a secret military weapons test. Some locals spoke of the Menk, the Siberian version of the Yeti, Others pointed to strange orange spheres, or UFOs, seen in the sky that night. The questions surrounding the Dyatlov Pass incident remain frozen in time. The force that killed them remains an unknown, silent entity. In 1817 Tennessee, the Bell family's quiet life was shattered by the Bell Witch. Strange sounds and attacks plagued their home, focusing on young Betsy. The haunting drew crowds. Even Andrew Jackson fled in terror. John Bell died, and the spirit claimed credit. The Bell Witch remains a chilling reminder of the unknown. The entity claimed to be the spirit of Kate Batts, a former neighbor of the Bells. She had sworn to haunt John Bell and his family. Kate, as the spirit became known, was a constant presence in the Bell home. Her voice could be heard all over the farm, revealing secrets and predicting events. The haunting became famous, even drawing the attention of Andrew Jackson. Jackson's wagon was stopped by an invisible force, and he fled in terror. The entity's hatred for John Bell was relentless, causing his health to decline. In December 1820, John Bell fell into a coma and died. The spirit's voice shrieked that it had given him a big dose of poison. After his death, the haunting subsided. The Bell Witch case is unique for its sheer number of witnesses. Hundreds heard the voice and saw the physical manifestations. It is a documented account of a powerful, malevolent entity. This door leads to a darkness born of human hatred, a spirit so vengeful it refused to stay in the grave. The Bell Witch remains a chilling reminder of the unknown. The haunting is a testament to the enduring power of the supernatural. It challenges our understanding of reality and the afterlife. The Bell Witch case forces us to confront the possibility of spirits that refuse to rest in peace, driven by vengeance. The Black Dahlia, Dyatlov Pass, the Bell Witch. 3 different time periods, locations, and circumstances. Yet they are all connected by a thread of profound mystery. They are stories that defy easy answers, historical events that feel like horror movies. They are moments when the veil between our world and something else tears open. These are not just cold cases. They are scars on our collective psyche. In the case of the Black Dahlia, we see the darkness within a human being. The killer was a phantom, a mind truly monstrous. The crime was a ritual, a performance, with an intelligence almost supernatural. In the Ural Mountains, the enemy was not human. The hikers were killed by a force, a compelling natural force. The evidence points to something that inspired absolute primal fear. Was it a military experiment, an unknown creature, or something ancient? With the Bell Witch, the entity gave itself a name, interacted, and had a motive. It demonstrated powers that defy physics and biology. This case forces us to confront the possibility of a human soul persisting after death. The echo here is the most personal and terrifying. The dead do not always rest in peace. Sometimes they come back for us. These stories challenge our skepticism and push the boundaries of belief. They force us to consider the supernatural as a reality. We have walked through 3 doors tonight, peering into the abyss. We have seen the darkness that lurks behind the veil of history. A beautiful woman butchered in the City of Angels. 9 hikers fleeing into a frozen hell. A family tormented to death by a vengeful spirit. These stories haunt us because they are real, not the product of imagination. They remind us our world is not as safe and predictable as we believe. What is the truth behind these mysteries? Will we ever know? Perhaps the answers are not meant for us. These events are warnings, reminders of things we do not understand. They are anomalies in reality, revealing a darker world beneath the surface. A world of phantoms, unknown forces, and vengeful ghosts. We seek evidence, rational explanations, but what if there is none? What if the monster is real? The darkness of presence all its own. These cases challenge our skepticism and belief. They force us to consider the supernatural as a reality. So the next time you stand before an old creaking door, think twice. Remember the stories we explored tonight. Some mysteries are not meant to be solved. Some questions have no answers. and some doors once opened unleash a darkness that can never be contained again.
Truth can be far more terrifying than fiction. Sometimes the darkness we fear isn't in the wild, but right next door. In New Mexico, police opened a trailer door and found a nightmare: the toy box. Its owner, David Parker Ray, seemed ordinary, a mechanic, a neighbor. But behind closed doors he was a predator, his cruelty hidden in plain sight. The toy box killer's story is a chilling reminder. The real monsters walk among us, masked by normalcy. Tonight, we open 5 doors to true nightmares, each revealing the horror that reality can hold. In the vast, sun-scorched expanse of the American Southwest, where the horizon stretches endlessly and the silence is broken only by the wind, a predator stalked the shadows. David Parker Ray was not a hunter in the traditional sense. He sought not animals, but power. His prey was human, and his motive was control, a chilling desire to dominate and destroy. Hidden in plain sight, Ray's lair was an unassuming white trailer parked on a desolate lot near Elephant Butte Lake, New Mexico. Locals called it the Toy Box, but inside, it was a meticulously constructed chamber of horrors. Every inch was designed for one purpose: to inflict pain and terror. The trailer was soundproofed, its windows blacked out, and its interior filled with an array of torture devices, restraints, and tools, each chosen with disturbing precision. Ray's victims were often lured in by promises of work, a ride, or even friendship. Sometimes he was aided by a female accomplice, making his approach seem less threatening. Once inside, the door would lock behind them, and their nightmare would begin. Shackled and immobilized, they were greeted not by Ray himself, but by his chilling recorded voice, echoing through the darkness, stripping away any last shred of hope. The tape was a cruel introduction to their new reality. In a cold, emotionless tone, Ray explained that escape was impossible. He told them they were now his property, objects to be used and discarded at his whim. The psychological torment began long before the physical pain, as he methodically broke their spirits. This mental torture was only the beginning. Ray's methods were calculated to instill fear and helplessness, leaving his victims isolated and utterly alone. He reveled in their suffering, feeding off their terror as he pushed them to the brink of despair. But Ray's depravity didn't end there. He documented everything, obsessively recording his victims' agony with camcorders and cameras. These tapes became his trophies, grim reminders of his power and the pain he inflicted. He cataloged each act, creating a twisted archive of suffering that he would revisit again and again. Ray was careful in his selection of victims. He targeted those on the fringes of society: drifters, runaways, sex workers, and the vulnerable. People whose disappearances would go unnoticed, whose stories would be lost in the vastness of the desert. For years, these men and women vanished without a trace, swallowed by the unforgiving landscape and Ray's insatiable cruelty. The true number of Ray's victims remains a mystery. He hinted at many more than those officially known, suggesting that the desert held countless graves, their locations marked only in his memory. Investigators found evidence of multiple murders, but the harsh, shifting sands of New Mexico have kept many secrets buried forever. For years, Ray operated undetected, his confidence growing with each successful abduction. He believed himself untouchable, a master of his own dark domain. The toy box became a fortress of evil, its secrets hidden behind locked doors and a facade of normalcy. But in 1999, everything changed. Cynthia Vigil, one of Ray's captives, managed to escape. In a desperate act of courage, she broke free from her restraints and ran barefoot into the night, bloodied and terrified, but determined to survive. Her escape shattered Ray's illusion of invincibility and set in motion the unraveling of his reign of terror. Cynthia's bravery led police to the toy box, where they uncovered a scene of unimaginable horror. The evidence they found, torture devices, restraints, and Ray's own recordings, painted a picture of evil beyond comprehension. Investigators were left reeling by the scale and brutality of his crimes. Ray was arrested, tried, and convicted of kidnapping and torture. But before he could reveal the full extent of his crimes, he died of a heart attack in prison. Many questions remain unanswered, and the true scope of his atrocities may never be known. The tapes Ray made are still locked away in evidence rooms, deemed too disturbing for public release. They are a grim testament to the suffering he caused, and a reminder of the darkness that can hide behind ordinary doors. The desert, vast and silent, keeps its secrets well. The true legacy of the toy box killer is buried beneath the sands, hidden from view but never forgotten by those who search for answers. Ray's story is a stark warning. The most dangerous predators often look just like us. They blend in, hiding their true nature behind masks of normalcy, waiting for the moment to strike. The reign of the toy box killer ended with one woman's courage, but the echoes of his evil still haunt the desert. In the quiet, in the emptiness, his crimes linger, a chilling reminder that true monsters can walk among us, unseen until it's too late. In 1977, the quiet suburb of Enfield, North London, became the epicenter of one of the most chilling and controversial hauntings in British history. The Hodgson family's modest home at 284 Green Street would soon be known around the world as a battleground for the unexplained, a place where the ordinary turned terrifyingly strange. It began innocently enough, soft whispers in the night, beds trembling as if shaken by invisible hands, and small objects like Lego bricks and marbles suddenly flying across rooms. The family, at first bewildered, quickly became terrified as the disturbances grew more violent and impossible to ignore. At the heart of the chaos were Janet and Margaret, two young sisters whose lives were turned upside down. Night after night they were tormented by a force that seemed to single them out, leaving them sleepless and afraid to be alone. Their mother, Peggy, watched helplessly as her daughters suffered, desperate for answers. Even the police, called in to help, witnessed the impossible. Officers saw a heavy chest of drawers slide across the floor unaided, and despite their training and skepticism, they could offer no explanation or comfort to the frightened family. Soon, paranormal investigators descended on the house, armed with cameras, tape recorders, and notepads. They documented objects levitating, chilling voices echoing through the rooms, and sudden drops in temperature that left their breath visible in the air. The evidence they gathered would become some of the most famous in the annals of ghost hunting. The most disturbing phenomenon centered on Janet. In front of witnesses, her voice would suddenly deepen and distort, claiming to be Bill Wilkins, a man who had died in the house years before. The voice revealed details about Bill's life and death that Janet could not have known, sending chills through everyone present. Researchers like Maurice Grosse and Guy Lyon Playfair painstakingly verified these details, matching Janet's statements to real events from the past. Their findings only deepened the mystery, blurring the line between hoax and haunting. Of course, not everyone was convinced. Skeptics accused the girls of playing tricks, suggesting the entire haunting was an elaborate prank. But with dozens of credible witnesses, including neighbors, journalists, and police officers reporting impossible events, the truth remained elusive. For the Hodgson family, the haunting was relentless. The activity would ebb and surge, sometimes quiet for days, then erupting with terrifying force. The constant fear and sleepless nights left the family exhausted, their nerves frayed and their sense of safety shattered. After nearly 2 years of torment, the strange occurrences gradually faded, but the scars, emotional and psychological, remained. The family never truly felt at peace in their own home again. The Enfield poltergeist case became a media sensation, sparking fierce debate that continues to this day. Was it an elaborate hoax, a misunderstood cry for help, or genuine evidence of the supernatural? Believers and skeptics still argue, each side convinced they know the truth. For the Hodgsons, however, the terror was all too real. The house's dark reputation endures, and stories of what happened within its walls continue to unsettle those who hear them. Today, 284 Green Street looks like any other house on the block, quiet, unassuming, and ordinary. But some say the spirit never left, waiting patiently for the next family to call 284 Green Street home, and for the haunting to begin anew. The Woods family's dream home in the rolling countryside of Idaho seemed like the perfect escape from city life. Nestled among golden fields and towering pines, the house promised peace, privacy, and a fresh start. But beneath its charming exterior, a chilling secret waited to be uncovered, one that would turn their dream into a living nightmare. It began with odd, unexplained noises, soft rustling, faint hissing, and the occasional thump echoing from below the floorboards. At first, the family dismissed these as the harmless sounds of an old house settling, but soon fleeting glimpses of movement in the shadows caught their attention, and curiosity gave way to dread. What they discovered was beyond their worst fears, hundreds of garter snakes writhing and slithering in the darkness beneath their feet. The house had been unknowingly built atop a massive snake den, a hibernaculum that had sheltered generations of garter snakes for decades, perhaps even centuries. This underground labyrinth was a sanctuary for the reptiles. a place where they gathered each year to survive the harsh Idaho winters. As the seasons changed, the snakes began to invade every corner of the home. They slithered through cracks in the walls, curled up inside kitchen cabinets, and even found their way into the family's beds. No room was safe. The creatures seemed to be everywhere, their presence turning daily life into a constant battle against fear and revulsion. Even the water supply was not spared. The family watched in horror as cloudy, foul-smelling water poured from their taps, contaminated by the snakes that had infiltrated the plumbing. Simple tasks like washing hands or taking a shower became fraught with anxiety. What was meant to be a sanctuary quickly became a prison. The Woods family lived in constant fear, their every movement shadowed by the threat lurking beneath the floorboards. Sleepless nights and mounting stress took their toll, leaving them emotionally and physically exhausted. Desperate for relief, the family called in exterminators and wildlife experts. But even the professionals were overwhelmed by the sheer scale of the infestation. The house, it seemed, belonged to the snakes, not to the people who lived above them. No amount of traps or treatments could reclaim the home from its original inhabitants. Financially drained and emotionally shattered, the Woods family made the heartbreaking decision to abandon their beloved home. With heavy hearts, they packed their belongings and left, unable to sell the property or recover their losses. The house soon became infamous throughout the region, a cautionary tale whispered among neighbors. Left to decay, it was slowly reclaimed by nature, and by the snakes, who returned each autumn to their ancestral den, undisturbed by human presence. The story of the Woods family is a haunting reminder that nature's power is always lurking just beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to emerge. Sometimes, the most terrifying threats are not supernatural but all too real. So remember, when you walk across your own floorboards, the monsters you fear might not be ghosts or ghouls. They could be alive, slithering in the shadows, waiting just beneath your feet. Some secrets refuse to stay buried. In 2000, Albert McKinsey bought a locked trunk at a flea market in Toledo, Ohio. Inside, he found two mummified infants, wrapped in newspapers from the 1950s. The police traced the trunk to a woman named Margaret who had lived in Los Angeles decades earlier. Her daughter, unaware of the contents, had sold the trunk after Margaret's death. Forensic analysis offered no answers. No cause of death, no DNA, only questions. Were the babies stillborn or victims of a darker secret? The truth died with Margaret. The infants, named Mary and John Doe, were finally given a proper burial. The trunk became a tomb, a chilling symbol of secrets lost to time. Some mysteries are never solved, only mourned. In 1922, a scandal rocked New Brunswick, New Jersey. Under a crabapple tree, the bodies of Reverend Edward Hall and choir singer Eleanor Mills were found. Lovers, both married to others. Their deaths were brutal. Hall shot, Mills nearly decapitated, love letters scattered between them. The scene was intimate, filled with rage and symbolism. Suspicion fell on Hall's wife, Frances, and her brothers, but evidence was circumstantial. The key witness, the pig woman, gave dramatic but unreliable testimony. The trial became a media circus, but ended in acquittal for Frances and her brothers. No one else was ever charged. The Hall Mills murders remain unsolved, a tale of love, betrayal and violence beneath a veneer of respectability. A century later, the mystery endures, a chilling reminder of the darkness that can hide behind closed doors. These stories are not fiction. They are the shadows of our world. The predator's lair, the haunted home, the snake den, the secret trunk, the unsolved murder, all real, all terrifying. Sometimes the scariest door is the one you open next. Ordinary days can lead to extraordinary nightmares. Share your own chilling stories in the comments. Here at One More Door, we explore the darkness to better understand ourselves. Subscribe for more true tales, if you dare to open the next door.